Fox News alerts some big developments this morning on that missing Malaysia jetliner flight 370. Data from the pilot's flight simulator at his house apparently has been deleted. Officials also found 5 practice runways around the Indian Ocean programmed into that same simulator. Experienced pilots tell us that could be normal. The big question is whether any deleted files show evidence of practice approaches onto odd destinations.
Also new this morning, sources say the plane changed course and veered west 12 minutes before the co-pilot calmly signed off with, "All right, good night."
Wow. All right, so Thailand revealed its radar picked up a plane about the same time the jet disappeared. But officials say they didn't say anything because no one asked them. Here's the foundation. Let's move the story ahead.
Now it's our turn to listen to the questions you are asking about this plane all morning. Our experts are back with us to help answer your questions.
All right, joining us now, our commercial pilot and investigator, Philip Holloway, and MIT professor of aeronautics, John Hansman. We're in the same things that wore last hour, only getting your questions, not our questions. Let's begin with James on Facebook.
That's right. James asks, what are the chances of getting this plane back in the air undetected?
Philip?
Well, if the plane made it down undetected, one could assume that it could get back off the ground if it's airworthy undetected. Jets, however, do not like to fly really low. Jet engines like to fly high. They're not very fuel efficient at low altitude. But that being said, if it flies low enough and it has no transponders on or anything like that, it could be easily confused with a flock of birds or perhaps even a boat if it's low enough.
Sure. So, Philip, there's a story circulating out there that some people in the Maldives saw a jetliner flying really low, perhaps as low as 80 feet. Would a big airplane like that, could you actually do that?
Oh, it could be done. I mean, you think about it. Every time a jet comes into land, it comes all the way down to 0 feet. So, yes, it could be done as long as there's nothing that's an obstruction that it will hit, such as a tree or whatever. So, you know, you're looking for an open space, such as an airfield or perhaps a desert.
All right,
for it to come down that low.
Good answer. Now, this is for John. Bill emailed this and asked, could the person in the cockpit also have been able to go into the back of the plane and disable the black box?
No, you can't really get there. The black box is actually outside the pressure vessel, so it's in the tail. There's really no way to get to it in flight, and it's on a separate battery system, so you can't pull a circuit breaker to kill it.
Okay, thanks for that. Philip, we have another question for you. Susie Q just sent on Twitter, have cell phone records of passengers been reviewed?
You know, I've been a criminal lawyer for the better part of 18 years, and what I have learned, especially in recent years, is that this is a primary investigative technique that police and law enforcement almost always use anytime cell phones are potentially an issue. So I would have to believe that if the investigation is being done properly, and that's a big if, I think, at this point, if it's being done properly, those records are being gone through and will be continued to be sifted through until we get some answers.
I mean, we know we have at least 2 guys here with fake passports from Iran. We know we have at least 1 other passenger who knew how to fly a plane. That's a lot to go on. For John, Carl asked this on Twitter. Why don't we know whether the contact was ever made with Vietnam air traffic controllers? After all, it's right there. Wouldn't they pick up the flight?
Yeah, we're pretty sure that they never made contact with the Vietnamese air traffic controllers. They were actually, the disappearance occurred right at the handoff between Malaysia and Vietnam. So normally you wouldn't communicate until you sort of got a little closer to Vietnam. The real question is, how long did it take before the Vietnamese controllers reported them missing?
That's a great question.
It is.
Meanwhile, Teresa asked on Twitter, this is a question for both of you. How long will they search? Is there a point when they will give up? Philip, we'll start with you.
Well, I think they're going to look for this aircraft or these, hopefully, survivors as long as there's a reason to look. Because right now we have no evidence whatsoever that the plane has crashed. You don't have any debris that's been found. You have nothing. No oil slicks, 0. In fact, we don't have any pinging or any noise being made by the emergency locator transmitters, which are designed to emit a signal upon crash. So until there's some solid evidence that there was a crash, I think we're going to be looking for this plane for a while.
And Philip, to your point about that emergency beacon, if there is no pinging from the beacon, could the pilot possibly have disabled that?
I don't think so. No, those things are designed to withstand lots of different stresses, and I don't think that's something that the pilot would necessarily have been able to disengage.
Are those located in the tail?
I'm not sure on the
yeah, they are.
777. I know it has 2 of them.
Okay.
And John, how long were they look?
Well, they'll look for a long time, but I think the intensive search will probably taper off if they don't find anything in the next, couple weeks or a month. It's very expensive to run these, intensive searches, so it's not clear who's going to pay for it.
Sure. Well, it's also not clear where the plane is, and that's why we called you guys in. John and Philip, thank you very much. Great answers.
Thank you.